4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Greetings, Facebook Live. Ben Axelrod, Matt Florjancic coming to you live from WKYC Studios. Just about 13 minutes to go here before kickoff between the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. Out in Baltimore, and Matt, you've been out in Berea all week, and last time we talked, we were obviously at the stadium just ahead of the Browns' loss to the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday, which dropped them to 1-2 on the season. But you've been out in Berea. What's the vibe around this team heading into this crucial division matchup?
The mood is pretty good, despite being 1-2. They, to a man, have said there's no panic. Nobody's really worried about the season coming off the rails, and I think what helps them in that regard is that the Ravens are coming off of a loss too, and now with a win, the Browns could find themselves right in the thick of the race for first place in the AFC North Division. So while the start hasn't been great, there's still plenty of games left to be played, and they have an opportunity to kind of cure a lot of ills today when they go to Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, like most things, there's a positive and a negative spin you could put on all of this. And the positive would be that, and I guess we'd start there, is if they win today, they are in first place of the AFC North after the 1-2 start, after the blowout loss to the Titans in Week 1, after all the issues with the play calling last week. First place is on the line now. Technically, they would have the tiebreaker, although it's still so early in the season.
Right, yeah.
What does a tiebreaker even matter at this point? But they are at a point now where they could come out of these first 4 weeks at 2-2 and in first place of the division, which really, when you consider the way the first 3 weeks went, you can't really ask for anything more than that.
No, as a fan, you'll take it. As a member of the organization, you'll take it. No doubt about it. This is a good opportunity for them to put away some of the demons from early in the season, but also really kind of show themselves against a true AFC North team. This is their first look against an opponent within the division, and it'd be a great opportunity for them to start off 1-0. I really, in my mind, I can't remember the last time they were 1-0 in a division.
It must have been 2004 when they beat the Ravens.
It might have been in the opener. Yeah, that might be it. Legitimately, that might be it.
Yeah. The negative, though, is you have to win that game to get into first place. And they head into this game, the last I checked, a 7-point underdog. Questions swirling about the offense, questions swirling about the play calling. The defense, he played well last week, but still undermanned. They're going to be without 3/4 of that starting secondary, including both starting cornerbacks, Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams, both out with hamstring injuries. The negative is there's a lot of question marks about this team. They haven't gotten off to the start they've wanted to. They haven't, even that 20-point win in New York on Monday Night Football, I don't know if they've put a complete game together yet. And this is their next opportunity to do that. But as far as what you're concerned about, what has stood out to you over the course of these first 3 weeks?
The obvious things being the play calling and the thinness in the secondary are the two biggest storylines. But to me, it's the play of the offensive line.
Yeah.
I thought the interior was going to be okay despite losing Kevin Zeitler, and by and large, they've been okay. Aaron Donald got loose a couple times, but when you're going up against a two-time defending Defensive Player of the Year, he's going to make plays. You have to expect that he's going to make plays. Your job is to minimize the amount of plays. And I thought the interior did a pretty good job, but the tackles have been a big concern for me. Chris Hubbard comes back into the starting lineup today after missing last week with a foot injury. He was somewhat limited in practice, so I'll be interested to see how he's able to handle game speed. But the play of the tackles is so important, and we talk about Baker needing to get the ball out of his hands quickly and not being too run heavy in terms of escaping the pocket and trying to make plays on the fly. It's really predicated on what the tackles do. If the tackles can protect and keep the pocket clean, Baker will be fine.
Right.
But if they keep letting pressure get into the pocket, Baker's going to continue to struggle.
I think something that's gone hand in hand with the play of the offensive line, and it might be a chicken or the egg situation, is that play calling. Obviously, some big blunders against the Rams. The 4th and 9 draw play, was it inaudible, wasn't it inaudible?
Doesn't matter, it didn't work.
Right. the 4 straight passing plays on the 4-yard line when they had a chance to either tie or win the game at the end of the game. I don't know if that's that's a new head coach thing with Freddie Kitchens. I don't know if that's too many pieces to get into sync at this point in the season. But I think there are a lot of concerns about, Freddie Kitchens as a head coach, just in terms of this offense doesn't look as good as it did a year ago, at least in those final 8 games. And this is an offense that should have improvement from Baker Mayfield, should be just overall improved with Odell Beckham Jr., and we haven't seen that to this point.
Yeah, and we really haven't seen Nick Chubb be established very much either. He had a good game against the Rams, but by and large, this was a 1,000-yard rusher from last year, and he did it in basically 8 games. And he's kind of been forgotten about. I mean, we talked about it in the opener. In the goal line situation, they gave it to Dontrell Hilliard.
Yeah.
They pulled Nick Chubb completely off the field. So I would like to see Nick get a little bit more work, because I think he has the ability to break games. And it's kind of, if you've ever seen the movie Remember the Titans, the line from Denzel Washington is just like Novocaine, just give it time to work. Nick Chubb is very much like that. He's going to get a lot of 2- and 3-yard runs, but then he's going to spring a 20-yarder or a 19-yarder or just 10-plus yards. He has that ability. With the passing game part of it, they have to take some underneath routes. They have to get comfortable with that intermediate and that short passing game. Look, Jarvis Landry can make plays. If you throw him a 5-yard pass, he has the skills to turn it into a 20-yard game.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to take that. You can't have the wide receivers run the go routes all the time.
You can't run the Hail Mary Madden offense
right.
that they've been running.
I understand the want to do that, because you have a Ferrari and a Lamborghini in the garage, if you will, and Beckham and Landry, but you have to be practical and take what the defense gives you. If they're going to take away the top, you have to earn the right to throw deep, which means taking the short game, involving the running game more. Then when you get people sliding up in the box, then you can get one-on-one coverage with Odell.
Yeah.
And then fun things will ensue.
Yeah, and that's, one thing, Jarvis Landry, that's his skill set. He has the ability to go deep, and I know he wanted to show that last year, but his 4 years in Miami, by and large, he was a possession slot guy, kind of a souped-up version of that, and we haven't seen that much this season. I think the other thing as far as this game is concerned, it's too early to call anything must win, but I do think that Titans loss looms large, in the sense that if you were going to play the schedule game before the start of the season, that Titans game would have been a win, and the Rams game was probably a loss, and the Jets game was a win. And so now you need to win a game that you weren't going to win.
Right.
And
you need to get one back.
I would put today in that category. This is a road game against a good division opponent. They could conceivably lose this game, but this is a game now you have to come out and win a game you shouldn't have won. Their next game, Monday Night Football against the 49ers, I think that's a game they should win, and a game they should have won before the season. Seattle at home, I might put in that same category. So this might be your last chance to go out and get one that you weren't going to get otherwise until you play New England at the end of October.
Right. This is a great opportunity for them to get back to 500, but to, like you said, get back a win that they gave up against the Titans. They, for as bad as they played against the Titans, they were in that game in the fourth quarter, and then the wheels fell off the wagon really quickly. But this is a good opportunity for them to, like I said, put those games in the past and just focus on what you got in front of you. And to a man, they've all said, this is they're playing a series of one-game seasons, 16 one-game seasons, and they want to finish the week 1-0.
Something I know I've written about extensively, you've written about extensively, really since April of 2018, is there's a lot of off-field stuff with Baker Mayfield this week. There's the feud with Rex Ryan. There's the feud with Antonio Brown. Baker, for his part, is not backing down, and even after the 1-2 start, it doesn't seem to have humbled him. He's staying true to his nature, but
which I think you want that in a sense. You want him to be himself, and you knew going in what you were going to get.
Right.
But if you ask him to be something he's not, then I think problems are going to ensue within the locker room.
And I think it just comes down to producing on the field. He hasn't lived up to expectations through the first 3 weeks of the season, and there's a lot of excuses you could make for that, but the reality is the Browns are 1-2, and Baker's numbers are what they are, and all this stuff looks a little sillier if you fall to 1-3. So I think that's a factor heading into today as well. So we will see. I saw Rex Ryan wore brown and orange on the ESPN pregame show, so apparently he does matter today.
Rex is one of those guys that is he's not going to take comments fired back at him laying down. He's going to have a response. That goes back to when he first got in the league, and specifically with the Browns when he was still coaching in the AFC East and Mike Pettin took over as coach of the Browns. Then we started to see that less than playful banter and more personal jabs at it. And it's really continued because Baker Mayfield is not one to take anything lightly. For as much as he says he blocks out the outside noise, he hears everything, and he responds to just about everything.
He most definitely does.
So, yeah, a win will help cure that. If they go 1-3, then yikes, that criticism is going to get louder, and he's only going to have more people to respond to.
Yep. Coming up here, just about 2 minutes from kick, you got a prediction?
Browns 24, Ravens 21.
Okay. I'm on the other side of it. I think the Ravens win this one. I'm going to say Ravens 31, Browns 26. I think it's
okay. It's close.
A weird game. I think they'll cover, but that is going to do it for us for a pregame here. We will be back with you after the game, breaking down all the latest from the Cleveland Browns.